Okay, in this video, they are asking you to go from the area of a circle to the circumference of a circle, which is harder because they give you the area and then you have to take the square root or think in your head of the square root to find the radius and then convert it to the diameter and then take the diameter to find the circumference. So it actually is a harder process than going from the circumference to the area, but it's not going to be bad. You're going to do a great job. So let's just go ahead and look at the first one. Let me explain what we're going to do though. So notice how they give us the area, okay? Then from the area, we're supposed to come down to the radius. And then from the radius to the diameter, and then to the circumference. So let's remind ourselves, the area of any circle is radius times pi. And in this example, they tell us that that the area is 25 pi. So think in your head, what two numbers would you multiply? They have to be the same number that you would multiply by themselves that would give you 25. What times itself would give you 25? And the only thing that would work is 5, because 5 times 5 would give you 25. And so that has to be it. Like, the radius has to be 5. And that's really what we're going to do here every time, is that we're going to try to figure out what two numbers has to be, in the formula to give us the area. Another way to do it is if we didn't know, let's say that we were just really bad at our multiplication facts, or maybe it's a number that we've never seen before. Maybe it's in the thousands. I don't know all of my perfect squares. Once we get really high up, then what we have to do is we have to actually use our calculator. So if we didn't know it was 5, what we could do is we could take the square root. So in our calculator, if we take the square root of 25, it would give us the 5 that we needed. So sometimes we can do it in our head. Like, maybe we can just look at it and we can say, well, obviously it's 5 times 5. So the radius must be 5. But other times it might not be that simple, and we might need to lean on our calculator. But either way, either we use our tools or we use our brain, which is also one of our tools, and we try to figure it out. So we know that the radius will be 5 centimeters. Now notice that the area is square centimeters, but none of these will be square centimeters because only area is square centimeters. Everything down here will just be regular centimeters. Okay? So just remember that. So if the radius is 5 centimeters, how much will the diameter be? Well, the radius is halfway across the circle, but the diameter is all the way across the circle, so it would be double that. So that would be 10 centimeters. And don't forget that the circumference is cutie pi, right? Diameter times pi. So diameter times pi. And we could be done. 10 pi is an answer. 10 pi centimeters, it's fine. Or we could let our calculator give us our 31.4, and that's fine too. So both of those answers are good. And we're going to write both of them every time. So think about what we did. Let's recap. We either use our calculator like this and find the square root, or we think in our head about what two numbers, and they have to be the exact same number, would multiply to give us the 25. It has to be 5 and 5. So therefore the radius is 5. Let's look at the next one. Now the next one's harder because I doubt you know what two numbers multiply to give you 225. And the only reason I know is because I have a lot of experience. So there are two numbers that multiply to give you 225, and they're the exact same number. So let's try to figure it out. So we're looking for 225. So we should definitely use our calculator on this. So using your calculator, if you find the square root of 225, what is that number? So go ahead and get your calculator out and take the square root of 225. And if you take the square root of 225, you should get 15, which means 15 times 15 equals 225. And you can check that. If you take 15 times 15 in your calculator, you'll get 225. So the radius has to be 15. And not only that, the radius has to be 15 inches. Not 15 square inches, just 15 inches. Now that we know what the radius is, we'll know what the diameter is. The radius is 15, so halfway across is 15, so all the way across would be 30. And then don't forget the circumference is diameter times pi, so that would be 30 pi. And again, we could be done, and let's put it that way, and we're going to find out the other version, which is the decimal version, which is 94.25. And now we're done. Okay, try 3 by yourself and see how it goes. Okay, so maybe you already know what two numbers multiply to give you 144, but if you don't, then you need to use your calculator. So take the square root of 144 and see what you get. And you should get 12, because 12 times 12 is 144. So the radius is 12. Meters, 12 meters for the radius, which means the diameter is 24 meters, which means the circumference is 24 pi meters. And then we're going to take 24 pi in our calculator and we get 75.40 meters. And then we're done. It's really not that hard. I mean, like, it is kind of hard because you got to really think about what the steps are, and there's a lot of stuff that you have to know to be able to do these. Even the rounding sometimes can really trip kids up. So make sure you ask any questions that you have. I definitely want to answer any questions that you have. Okay, I want you to do 4 through 6, like right now. Pause the video, and then I'm going to just put the answers up, and you can check yourself. Okay, so here are the answers, and make sure that you're really working these out. I want you to do 7 and 8 by yourself, and I will grade those when I collect your packet. If you did not get these correct and you don't understand why, make sure you raise your hand and ask for help.